Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 420. Today is Sunday, July 19th, 17th. Ooh, what did I write down? I can fix this. 2022. I think I'm thinking about something. Different appointment. But shouldn't be too crazy. So, what would it be? Recording a little bit later this week because ended up spending the day in Berkeley. I also got this lovely t-shirt, so that was nice. So this is a t-shirt from the Black Squirrel, and the art on it is actually by my friend Dawn, so thought that was pretty cool. So one of the knitters had showed up with a t-shirt that didn't fit them. It's like, you're a size small. I was like, I would be happy to have a t-shirt. So it was a good time. And of course it was like slightly hilarious just because I was like, I don't have the right knitting for a knitting retreat. Hurry, find some yarn. And that turned into much more of a saga than I was intending it to. So the dealio is, I concluded that I needed something that was slightly less cursed than the project with beads, and this is entirely my own fault because I haven't sat down and figured out how many beads I actually need to get. I'm sure it will be perfectly fine after that point. I knew the hat really didn't represent a significant amount of knitting. And my cowl is definitely past the halfway point, and when I get chances to put dedicated effort into it, it definitely happens. And I was casting off the sweater. So, I put out like a call to my spinning group. It was like, which one of these handspun skeins should I want? And the overwhelming consensus was this one. So this is my base 12 spin along fiber from December. It was very conveniently located in a convenient spot in the stash. And I really like this yarn quite a lot. But I decided I wanted to do brioche, and so I picked another skein, and this is 50% alpaca, 50% silk. The alpaca is black and the silk is dyed. I don't remember the dyer offhand, and I'm actually pretty sure this is llama. Because alpaca, like llama is a downbreed and alpaca is not. So all of alpaca fiber is spinnable, but llamas have guard hairs, and there's definitely guard hair in this. I don't even know. I like pick it out when I find it, but there's definitely guard hairs in this, so it can't be alpaca. It's impossible for it to be alpaca. But like, we're talking, you can't, like, we don't have the resolution to show you. That's a guard hair. Whatever. And when I was plying this or something, or when I was like winding it to make it into a center pull ball to ply, which is sort of dangerous the finer the yarn becomes. Lost end of the bobbin, had a giant mess. I don't even know what my spinning plan was for this. But apparently I was also really stressed out when I was plying it because I over-plied it. So I started working on this little design of my own, and it was clear that the yarn was horrifically overapplied and it needed to be fixed. So I got far enough along the design where I was like, okay, yeah, I like this concept. I do want to use these two yarns together, but I need to fix this one. And then proceeded at 11:30 at night to start taking out the ply twist. Didn't get to bed till 2, wound it this morning, and then I double checked what my yardage was when I started and what my yardage was now, and it is the same. So normally when I take out ply twist, I'll actually get a little bit of length back. Not this time. And like intellectually, silk is not a very springy fiber. Alpaca is not a very springy fiber, so perhaps it's not surprising that all of that plying energy didn't translate into sproing so much as like general sadness. So would it be like I think it's fair, like I figure it's actually pretty fairly striking how different these end up seeming. And this one I've even, like this one is much improved now. Like, is it perfect? No. But it is certainly much improved. So I'm a little bit tired today because apparently that was a problem I had to fix, because what's likely going to happen is I need to get most of the way packed for the Super Summer Knit Together tonight, because it will probably be very, very busy and chaotic in the days leading up to that. Or I have a 5:30 a.m. flight, so we'll just assume I don't have time. We will assume that I don't have time to do that sort of nonsense. So, as a result, like, I just needed to get it done right away. And then after I scanned it, it was sort of the case where I was like evaluating if I did need to set the twist on it, and then decided I didn't need to bother. So what I have going on here is a little brioche pattern. The goal is to sort of have like crescent-y sort of triangle shape to it. But have it, where would it be? So have sort of that general soft appearance to it without having it be sort of, I wasn't liking what I was getting when I was, when I didn't have like a center spine of sorts in it. So this is sort of a hybrid method going on here, but I'm doing a different little brioche pattern on it. So I basically have these little clusters in it. So in some ways it's very similar to the Scheherazade shawl, because I'm planning on working sort of body part of this as these sort of alternating clusters. And the contrast in the yarn isn't super duper high right now, because I have this really saturated blue, but there's lots of neutrals in here. And then I have sort of this sort of charcoaly color with like this like oil slick of various shades of like blue and green and silver. So I think it'll be really nice. And I am much happier with the feel of the alpaca silk, even though it didn't seem to change the quantification of the yarn very much, aside from it taking a really long time. So I sort of got back to where I was sort of in my initial little shawl swatch. we'll go from there. So I'm not doing increases on the center spine every single do something row, but just enough to make it a little bit fun. So just a little bit of a point, not a big point, and so it'll end up being more of a long shawl than it will a deep shawl, and that's fine. But maybe it is more crescenty at this point too. Who knows? So pretty happy so far. And so the next time that I do pattern row, I'll sort of alternate where the little I guess the best way to describe it are like droplets. And then what I really need to do, or something that I need to be on the lookout for, is Nancy Merchant's Knitting Fresh Brioche. One of the knitters in my Monday night group had a copy, and I flipped through it. I'm like, yeah, this is something that I really want. So I should get on that. So I have about 646 yards, or wait, 647, because it didn't change at all. 647 yards of the alpaca silk, and then I have a little over 1,000 yards and 6 ounces of the base 12 fiber. So that was hip strings spin-along I was doing. And the fact that I will be taking a class with Jill probably did weigh on deciding to grab this skein over other ones, because it's fun and festive. And then it'll be the case where I ended up starting from where I'd finished plying the ball. So there might be shorter blips of color on this early end region, and then as I get further on, I think it's gonna end up being more color blocks in the end. We shall see. And then what didn't give me any trouble at all was I did start this hat. And I have this ridiculously long tail because that's what I need in order to seam the band together when that part is done. But this is easy peasy, no problem. I have a lot of markers in it right now. Just because I feel untrusting of my of my keeping it together lately, but it shouldn't be too crazy. So I am knitting another 1898 hat to replace the one my spouse lost on a trip to New York. I calculated out my yardages, and I needed to swap the colors from the original hat in order to have enough yarn. So I had to swap the colors in order to have enough yarn, but I don't think there's going to be very much loss in performance. Loss in performance with these changes. So what it boils down to is I am working both ends of the red ball and one end of the black. The red is holly and the black is morticia. And it is a merino cashmere silk from Fiber Optic. And it is a heavy lace weight yarn. So that's why holding 3 is getting me to a worsted weight gauge, supposedly. I will certainly double check my numbers. What I ended up doing earlier this week was I took my ball bands from the Vieto and I taped them together, and I went and I measured where my spouse's ears were and how big around his head was, and just made a little form. And so when I finish when I finish doing however many rows I'm doing for the or when I finish doing however many rows I need to do for the band, I'll check and see if this makes sense. And if it does make sense, once I get to the direction where I'm supposed to start making the ear flaps, I'll see if things are lining up okay, or if I need to adjust my plan. So this section of the pattern, it matters more, or your row gauge matters more in this part of the pattern, because it's going around the head. But then stitch gauge will be more important for the second half. So this is, I believe, a Kristen Brins pattern. It's free on the internet. I have the PDF on my phone, so we should be good. We should be good to go. Not too much trouble there. And then I have my little piece of paper outlining what's going on. And we have whatever. I haven't gotten a lot done, but I did get it started. And then here is my spouse's head. And then what I was trying to figure, like why I originally did this, was trying to figure out if I needed to move where the ears were in the pattern. But then when I worked out all the ratios, apparently that's where ears are. And the ratio remained the same, even though my spouse's measurements were a little bit larger. So I'll have to figure out if it seems like a lot of negative ease to knit the pattern as written, so I'll just have to keep an eye out and see how different things are. But that's like mostly like that's my easy project. That's my no big deal. The brioche, like that's my fun project. And I'm just sort of making it up as I go along, so if things get too off the rails, I'm not too worried about it. And then my cowl is going really nicely. So this is the Hillary cowl. And then I'm going to make sure that I bring up the pattern page and make sure, because man oh man has it been. So this is the Hillary cowl, which is my Bigger Than Life knits. It is Nomo Niluvu. Okay, let's see. Niluvu. And I am knitting it out of Plymouth Vieto, which is a 70% baby alpaca, 30% rayon from bamboo yarn, with a chainette construction. So it's making a very, like the alpaca has a lot of depth of color to it. It is super kitteny soft. It does shed a bit though. But yeah, no, I feel like I'm now like well into my third skein, and this got most of my knitting love this week, so we're definitely getting there. I haven't put a progress keeper in it, but it's probably moot because I have a sneaking suspicion that it will be done soon. Now that I have now that I put oodles and oodles of markers in it, definitely. So, what would it be? I put oodles and oodles of markers in it because I was getting off on the pattern. Because effectively speaking, what's happening is you are sort of like establishing the pattern, and then you work more rows on top of it, and then you have to reestablish the pattern. And so having a lot of markers makes it a lot easier to reestablish the pattern when it comes back around again. And then I'm also alternating or shifting it, so was not the sound you want to hear. Like I probably need to attach these a bit more firmly, but so we have this fun texture, and then when it gets blocked out, I think it's gonna be really nice. Let's see. So if we're not stretched, I feel like there's like an appropriate amount of stretch in order to evaluate the size. I suppose it's also hard to evaluate the size when I'm in the pattern. So I'll have to, I think, pay a little bit closer attention to it once I'm in the final skein. Whether or not I'm getting close to being done. I think, roughly speaking, at this point, I'm not quite to the 2/3 mark. On sort of this pattern part of it. Or would it be? I definitely need to work this. Or yeah, I'm gonna work the whole 3rd skein, which is getting pretty empty at this point, which is how I know I'm not halfway. The whole 4th skein, and then when I'm into the 5th skein, then I'll have to measure a little bit more frequently to make sure I'm making it the suggested size. But should be good. So this is going to be the sort of cowl that like rides, like is like on your shoulders more so than your neck. Like you could wear it as a neck thing too, but it's something that's substantial. So it's, or would it be? Definitely feel like things are going much more smoothly now, which is good. But yeah, it was sort of the case where I got like a lot of it done when I was riding the bus to work, and then I also managed to get a lot of it done yesterday as well. So it just feels like given time and attention, this is going to come together pretty quickly. And it's not too spicy, so it will also be good retreat knitting, because I'm not done yet, but I feel like I'm going to finish it. I feel like in the next episode this will be done. And that'll be good stash yardage and all of that fun stuff. So, that is the story there. Now, I'm going to take out this project even though it hasn't. Man, I am cruel. Whew. I was like, why did I stop in the middle of a row? That's like, man, what am I doing here? So we'll just confirm that I have knit at least one stitch on this week, and we'll call that close enough. So this is my Scheherazade shawl, which is an Anna Victoria pattern that I am knitting out of Yarn Place Gentle, which is a merino cashmere blend, and a lot of beads. And I only call this project Cursed because I need to order more. And logically, if I ordered many extra cobalt blue silver lined 8-aught beads, it's not the end of the world. I am probably going to find a way to use such beads. It's just mentally I really like the idea of getting the right amount for the project, but then the cheapskate in me does not want to make more orders of beads with $5 to $6 shipping a pop for $5 to $6 of beads. But the time in which I needed to order the beads in order for this project to the time in which I needed to order the beads in order to have this so that I could continue working on the project at the retreat was a while ago, I'm assuming. So I'm just laughing at myself. Like I probably could have, but it's okay. It's also, or would it be? Like, I think later parts of the shawl have less beads in them, and so it will be less fiddly. And I'm very, I feel like I'm very close to the end of the body section. Like, I was planning on weighing the shawl several weeks ago once I finished this pattern repeat. But obviously I have not taken out of the bag. I have left it with half a row done for a little while now. And obviously the knitting itself is inspiring me because I'm coming up with a brioche pattern that does a similar sort of effect. So it may be the case where the progress of the brioche shawl mirrors this one. We'll see. Obviously with less total repeats of the body pattern because would it be? I am knitting this on 2.5 millimeter needles. And getting a very lovely, wonderful fabric with it. I'm committed to the fabric I'm making. It was a little bit like an uncontrolled chain reaction with the recommended needle size. So I'm owning that one. It'd be the case where it will be lovely. It's just would it be? It requires more brain space than I'm willing to give it at the moment in order to figure out exactly how many more beads I need to buy. Because I ended up doing way more repeats of this body chart, and therefore I will need more beads for the subsequent parts. And when I was trying to make that calculation, everything was turning out wrong, so it's okay. For some reason, I don't feel like I'm going to finish this in time for Stash Dash, but I also understand that would it be? I'm still working on it a little bit anyways, because I would like the finished thing, for sure. even if it is parasitic to putting up big yardages, I also understand this is not my year for that. It is not my year for big yardages. But in exciting news, it does appear like I have managed to broach 7K, so that is exciting, because I did finish my sweater. So it is still a little bit damp. I ended up soaking it overnight, and then I squeezed lots of water out of it, and then I used my towel to get out most of the water, and then I stole my spouse's towel and got out even more water. And then I was able to put it on and verify that I did like the fit of it after blocking. And this is a case where I am leveraging superwash's property of growing when wet, and not leveraging superwash's property of shrinking when dry, or shrinking when you dry with heat. And so what this has resulted in is having a much more sane amount of ease all over the body. It was sort of the case where it was feeling like sleeves were tight and body was there, and then the shoulders seemed to be like a little bit, or would it be, it all just seemed like a little bit constrained. And I knew going in that I was knitting with the needle size I was, knowing that it would grow when I blocked it. So like that hasn't changed. But I think or would it be maybe the piece of information that I didn't have was how much the brioche was going to transform when I ended up blocking this. So yeah, oh, it's nice. Really pleased with how everything came together. So it's sort of the case from like, it went from being like, okay, it's done, we've made it happen, to like, ooh. And I didn't start recording the episode until I figured out exactly how much yarn I had ended up using for my additional bind off. And so I am glad that I checked, because it turned out that I ended up using 25 grams of my Volmisa 100%. So there would have been no, like, I think I would have been pretty unhappy if I had needed to take 25 grams out of the body in order to do the I-cord bind off. And the I-cord bind off definitely took some time, for sure, but it is crucial. I'll still argue that the I-cord should have been integrated into the edge, but it's good. It's good. And I am really pleased with my selection of black, so it looks different, but it doesn't necessarily draw a lot of attention to itself, which I think is the best that I could do given the circumstances. I do have to laugh a little bit about like, oh, it'll be fine. And then it's probably also worth noting that me deciding to do all that brioche in the back also probably ate a lot of yarn too. So whatever. So some of this is my choice. But yeah, so so happy with how everything came together. So that's Water Bearer by Jacqueline Cieslak. And I knitted out of Mad Tosh Twist DK. In the deep colorway. Sorry, I'm remembering what this pattern is. On the fly, not even looking it up. It's been several weeks, I think, since I've worked on this guy. So really pleased. And now it's just the thing that I'm working on is getting it dry so I can pack it and bring it with me to SSK. Because bringing sweaters, I think, is the only way that I'm getting imaginary points. So, we've got the back. It definitely still has that shapeliness to it, but blocking did smooth it out somewhat. But I think you can already sort of tell just by like watching me put it on, like much better in the ease department. It actually has some good positive ease now. But yeah, you can definitely tell that it's much more loose and flowing. Obviously not ideal to be wearing a slightly damp sweater, but now it is much closer to the correct length as well. So I got length and width when I block this. The sleeves might even be like a smidge long now, but whatever. It's not like it's the end of the world. It's cozy for sure. Something to throw on in these cold, foggy days like today. Well, I don't even know if it's cold. I haven't been outside yet. But yeah, you can definitely see how it's much more of an easy fit now, and that's what I was hoping for. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to knit. It was a bit of a brain teaser when I needed one, and then it became too salty when I didn't need it anymore. Learned some good things about integrating stockinette and brioche together. A lot of joy in simply single color brioche. Has a really nice fit in the sleeve from that satin construction. So that was a big criteria for me, was satin construction for an open front cardigan. I'm not knitting raglan shaped open front cardigans. I might even just be on a anti-raglan rampage. Now I'm gonna have to, I don't know, maybe I'll have to change the episode title now, because yeah. But I'm pleased. I am very pleased. I'm so happy that it all came together in the end. So I don't think it's a big deal that my sleeve bind off doesn't match the collar and bottom bind off. It's far enough away, it's not a big deal. I did some rude things to the sleeves with all of my carrying it around, but I might just need to take the gleaner to it a little bit earlier than I would normally. But yeah. And then, yeah, no, the brioche looks so good blocked. So good. So, yeah. Very excited. But obviously, the sun isn't shining here. So it is going to be slightly more challenging in order to get this all the way to dry. I may need to strategically place it in front of a heating vent or something in order to make that happen. But I don't know. Well, we'll get it figured out. I may need to go through and do like a little bit more search and destroy on any sort of random ends. I can definitely see a couple peeking here and there, but other than that, like there's a lot of ends up here, just from the construction. The rest of it shouldn't be too crazy, but I just have to get everything properly hidden and good. And then what I ended up doing was I saved all of the ties and all of the little snips that I ended up making on it. So at some point, I'm going to make a bat with sort of the leftovers from this project. And then I have probably about a yard extra of the blue that I'll be reserving for repairs. So this is how much extra I have of that, and this is how much extra I have of the black. So I did use a pretty sizable amount of yarn for that bind off. I really wasn't sure how much it was going to take. Maybe it's 2 yards. It's more than my wingspan, so. Well, I guess my wingspan is not 2 yards, but it's about 2 yards. It's Molly's wingspan plus a foot. So this will get saved. This won't go into the yarn, because I do think it's really important to reserve at least a little bit of yarn for repairs. And I have like a pretty small bag set aside, or a little small bag set aside in my stash. So I'm just going to count this yarn as all used up, and it's probably going to actually count as negative because it was a very generous. They were very generous skeins. It was 5 skeins, but it almost added up to 6. So yeah, I played yarn chicken anyways. Oh well, 2 yards was definitely not gonna get me another row pattern. So yeah, all done. You'll probably be seeing me wear it as a part of my chair camouflage. See, that was, I think, the other episode title floating around in there. It was just like, doop. I don't know. There's not quite enough that I can, like, totally hide my face, but definitely blending into my surroundings here. But, yay! So, I might end up talking about it more when I'm able to properly wear it, but I don't know, maybe I'll end up doing the sort of situation in which if it's not more dry in time, I might just end up wearing this to work on Tuesday in a place where the sun actually does shine, because that's the hilarious thing about the area. It's like right here is where it is cold and foggy. It is warm and sunny, not very far away. Okay. Still have heredity, but definitely teal leaning. Like, it's certainly blue, but it's very much so teal leaning. As you do. So, I did not immediately cast on this guy. But it was a case where I did finally get a chance to wash it. I have not double checked if the yardage had changed significantly, but it's definitely, would it be definitely the case where I am appreciating bat makers and the cool things that they can do with bats. Even though I can make my own bats, I tend to approach it from a different perspective, and so I'm still thinking about what it is that I can learn from the situation, or what other things I need to keep on hand in my stash in order to create certain effects with my hand spun yarn. But it does feel really nice after it's been washed. So how close can we get it? Let's see. I feel like the colors are a little bit strange, but like it definitely has like, it's, the overall effect is certainly blue now, but there's definitely like a pretty healthy dose of purple in there. So final thing is I had to take stuff off my wheel, or I had to take this off my wheel, but I did finally get started on my Tour de Fleece sweater spin. So this is a combination of Finn that I dyed blue and gray, Hello yarn in the Forest Sap coloring, I think it was Forest Sap, some Oatmeal BFL from the Woolery, a little bit of Merino Silk, and Mohair Locks, very little bit of both, all blended into bats. Finally finished the last bat. After I finished the last bat, I decided I wanted to approach this more from like a combo spin perspective. So that is the case where what I ended up doing was I took every one of my balls of sliver, I divided it by length into fifths, and then I put a fifth of each one of my 16 balls into a plastic grocery bag. So the thought process here is that I'll have slightly shorter runs of color if there is a strong one in either one, because I have some of these that are more brown leaning or yellow leaning or teal leaning, and that way it's getting a little bit more mixed up. But would it be like definitely on the earth tones side of things? I don't know whether or not it's showing it in quite the same way, but definitely toned it for sure with that Oatmeal BFL. And I have all my bags set up and ready to go, and then this is the first one that I'm spinning from. So I will be grabbing a new one once I get my wheel set up again, but I'm probably not going to be spinning until I get to FFK, which is fine. It may be the case where I don't take the full project with me. I might just take this bag and another bag and go from there. Like, because I highly doubt that I'll get through 20 ounces of spinning. Maybe I'll get through 8, if also including this one. Like, big maybe there. And whatever I do, like, I'm going to be starting the packing process soon, so I think that'll help clarify in my mind what it is what it is that I really need to bring or not. Though the benefit is bobbins of fiber do take up this room, but also I need to make sure I have clear bobbins for my classes, so, or at least one of my classes. So we'll get it all worked out. I am excited. I don't think I need to bring another project than that. It's quite possible that all of this wailing and grinding of teeth associated with my knitting projects is moot because I'll be spinning. Whatever. We've had the changing of the guard project wise. Maybe slightly different than usual because I've already accepted the fact that my shawl project is going to have to be longer term. And the good news is, like, it takes approximately 0 room. Approximately. Like, I can probably put my other project in here, my other shawl project in here, no problem. And that's what I might end up doing just to keep everything contained. Because what would it be? The odds are really good that it's just entirely too spicy for any of the traits. There's that. But yeah, I'm excited. But I do have to get through 2 days of work. And what would it be? Also, making sure that all of the other details and making sure that the household keeps running nicely make it to the finish line here. So I definitely know I forgot one work related thing last week, so what would it be? I didn't get nasty grounds yet. Maybe that's coming. It's probably not that important, but I had other fish to fry. So I will not be recording next week because I will be hanging out with the family, which should be really lovely, and recovering from their treat just a little bit. And then whatever, but it should be good for the week after that. And I don't know. Should be good fun. We'll figure out if that ends up being the reset point for the recording schedule or not. We shall see. I guess I still had stuff to talk about despite it being pretty bonko. Or I just crammed it all into yesterday. Options. Crammed it all into yesterday. So, with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So, take care, guys. Bye-bye.